Welcome to Westwood, California. You're watching the Pac-12 on ESPN. For those that just saw Baylor end Connecticut's 126-game regular season win streak, we welcome you to UCLA and Stanford. The Bruins under a cloud of a 4-game losing streak and a rare mid-season coaching change in college basketball. 3 days ago, Steve Alford fired after 5.5 years in Westwood. UCLA picked second preseason in the conference. 4 consecutive losses, including a 15-point loss to Liberty 5 days ago. So Murray Bartow, in his first year as an assistant coach, now takes over as the interim head coach. He's coached 18 years as a head coach, and he was also the interim coach at South Florida 2 years ago. And his father, the late Gene Bartow, coached at UCLA back in the late 70s. Dave Pasch, alongside former UCLA Bruin Bill Walton. Bill, surprised by the timing of the firing of Steve Alford, and what does this mean for the rest of the regular season for a Bruin team that has enough talent to win the conference?
Not surprised at all. It's time for these Bruins, though, to start a new day. Turn the leaf, turn the page. We're in January, named after the god Janus, the god with 2 faces. One, you learn from the past and then look to the future, and the future is this young man right here from Indianapolis, Chris Wilkes, a second-year player. He is the leader. He's their best player. He has to be the guy that pulls everybody together, rallies this incredible program. Got a great crowd in here tonight. The Conference of Champions is underway, and Moses Brown steals the tip. Hasn't he read the tablets?
Yeah, you can't do that, so it's Stanford ball. The starting 5 for Stanford features KZ Okpala, who's averaging 17.6 rebounds. Dejon Davis, who might be Stanford's best player, is available. He hurt his ankle last game, is not starting, but will see some action. And here's Okpala on the drive. They double him on the low block.
Beautiful passing, Oscar da Silva. Stanford has not won here in 12 years. They got an excellent coach in Jared Haas. This young man right here, last year, burst onto the scene. Dejon Davis from Seattle, Garfield High School, legendary program up there. Hit a 50-foot game winner at the buzzer at Maples, up at the farm there, and they beat USC. This is a lot of talent on this team for Stanford, but the loss of Reed Travis.
Yeah, Kentucky transferred there. Also, they lost Michael Humphrey and Dorian Pickens.
Excellent player.
But, Bill, the conference, as you look at the Bruins starting 5, which Murray Bartow said is going to remain the same with Wilkes, Smith, Ali. Jalen Hands, who leads the Pac-12 in assists, and Moses Brown. There's Hands getting the basket. The Pac-12 is wide open. Arizona State beat Kansas just a couple weeks ago. We were there for that. Then they lose to Princeton at home and lose tonight to Utah. So who knows who the best team in the Pac-12 is. UCLA certainly has enough talent to win.
UCLA has as much talent as anybody I've seen in college basketball this year. They've got size, they've got depth, they've got strength, they've got incredible shooting capabilities. What they don't have right now is spirit. But they're attacking the rim. 2 basic layups there, no real shot blocking. And if the Cardinal don't deny guard penetration, they're going to have no chance, and they'll go down to their 13th consecutive loss here in Pauley Pavilion. Because it all starts with denying guard penetration. Beautiful drive there.
Dallaire lost it, out of bounds,
please.
a turnover.
UCLA taking it to the hoop. Prince Ali, yes. Finding leadership guidance from Muhammad Ali, no relation, I'm told.
Here's Wilkes, and they're going to call him for traveling. Wilkes is 4th in the Pac-12 in scoring coming in. You know, you look at the Bruins stats, you can see why they've struggled. They're at the bottom of the Pac-12 in turnover margin. In that loss to Liberty, 24 turnovers. So that goes to your point about spirit, playing with high basketball IQ, as that's a nice move by Okpala. They have to play much smarter and tougher. It's not just about shooting, although they have not shot the ball well this year.
I see too many long faces on this Bruin squad. Throw it down, Moses. Yeah. Great footwork. This is a completely different team tonight than we saw this morning. I mean, this morning they were dragging.
That was a shoot around.
That's why you never, it wasn't a shoot around, it was a stand around. a listen around, please.
Now,
shoot around is what the Stanford Cardinal did.
Now, they were doing more shooting and more fundamentals as
Beautiful.
Akpala nails a three. Akpala last year shot 23% from three-point range. This year he's at 47%. Moses Brown underneath got fouled by Jaden Dallaire. First on Stanford.
Spread the floor if you're UCLA. You've got power inside. When they kick it up top and that weak side duck in. This is where Sidney Wicks established himself 50 years ago as the greatest college forward that I ever saw, and that was his play on that weak side duck in. Hopefully Sidney's here tonight. He was here against Notre Dame. Doesn't come around too much. Sidney keeps a really low profile, and I'm sad about that. Kind of like me.
Here's De Silva from outside, no good. Rebounded by Wilkes, and again UCLA looking to push tempo. Ali.
Beautiful passing, throw it down, Chris Smith.
Smith soars to the rim. All of UCLA's points have come in the paint.
And they're playing at the speed with the passion and the spirit and the pride that Murray Bartow was talking about all day today. Murray, who has great ties to this UCLA program, was a ball boy here when he first moved here with his dad right after Coach Wooden retired in 75. That's 1975.
Thank you. Akpala fouled on the drive. That is the second on UCLA.
Push the ball, get to the free throw line. Guy runs at you. Jared Hass will not be happy with that failed soft closeout by Oscar De Silva that time.
Akpala showing his quicks and strength, and Wilkes picks up his second foul.
So Murray Bartow wanted to make it very clear that this coaching change is about a team effort here, and it's about the contributions that Dwayne Broussard, the longtime assistant here, who came with Steve Alford from New Mexico, who was at New Mexico before Steve Alford got there, and then also Tyus Edney, the last great Bruin champion still living.
Corey Alford, Steve's son, is still on the staff as the video coordinator, has a bright future in coaching. Spin and miss by Wills, but saved by Sharma, the Pac-12 Player of the Week, Josh Sharma.
Corey Alford is awesome.
Sent out of bounds by Smith.
Corey Alford, just one of those really smart guys, good basketball player. Came over here when the whole family moved 5.5 years ago. And what a great addition he is. His understanding of human nature, of the flow, of what it takes to have a great team, exceptional.
UCLA again in transition.
Look at the pace they're playing at. Nobody's holding the ball. Everybody's moving it. Great pass to the weak side. Moses Brown has got to get to that ball, though, quicker.
Passes don't normally hit the rim. That was a shot by Smith. And then a foul called on Stanford. That is the second team foul on Stanford.
Not everything is perfect. Why are you so negative? Please.
Foul was on Sharma, his first.
You know what I loved today was the speech that Jared Hass gave to his team, and it looks like there's going to be a timeout on the floor here.
No,
I think
it's a clock issue. I think the shot clock, they may have an issue with that, so the officials are checking it out.
This looks like a fun way to spend the night.
David Hall, our crew chief tonight.
How did they decide that? So we got Larry, Frank, and David.
So we're told that they're looking at potential flagrant foul here.
The hook and hold deal that ruined college basketball in the first part of the season and then disappeared. And now they're right back. So let's talk about what Jared has delivered to his team today. That was this afternoon. It was today, right?
It was at 1:30. That was like 7 hours ago.
Okay. So he talked about how, look, this crowd is going to be fired up, looking for a new start and a new opportunity and hope in life. The players are going to be all charged up. This UCLA team, which basically fell apart over the last month. At the start of the season, UCLA had 3 players, Wilkes, Hands, and Moses Brown, who were projected to be first-round draft picks in the NBA. In the most recent NBA mock draft for this spring, and I emphasize the word mock, not a single Bruin is in that list. And the only Pac-12 player that I noticed in there was Bol Bol, who news today, not good out of Oregon for
He's out for the season. Yeah, broken foot out for the season. So they did call a flagrant foul for the hook and hold on Josh Sharma. Yep.
Common foul was upgraded to F1. Look at hold play. F1 after review. I don't too, but that's good. Okay, Bill. Thank you.
So, I don't know, did Frank want to come to, I mean, Larry Spalding already came over and that's the first time I've ever seen two different officials come over. I think Frank just wanted to talk to you.
No, because Larry came over to talk to you, and Frank saw that, and he saw that there was going to be confusion. Yeah. And so Frank had to come over.
So illegal contact in that situation.
So this is a rule that nobody likes. But the referees have been told that if they don't call this, they're not going to get assigned to games. And so they do call it. Hopefully the players will just make the adjustment and stop playing. Look at Moses Brown.
A miss, but great play by Cody Riley on the offensive glass. All 5 baskets for the Bruins in the lane. They lead by 3.
The Bruins played with this kind of spirit and over the last month. All these problems, all these turnabouts would not be in effect right now.
But it's not just that, Bill. It's they have stretches like this. It's when they face a little bit of adversity.
Whoa, beautiful
Sharma gets
play
to the rim. That was a nice pass by Bryce Wills, who's starting for the injured Dejon Davis, although Davis will play.
A lot of new young faces on this Stanford team trying to replace Michael Humphreys, Reed Travis, and Dorian Pickens. Over the top, Moses Brown just too good. Another foul called on Josh Sharma.
So that's 2 on him, 2
there's
on
a
Wills
timeout.
for UCLA.
Fortunately, Stanford brought their tiny chairs with them. Ryan made a point of coming over to me at practice today and say, Bill, I'm in charge of the tiny chairs. We are ready here in Pauley Pavilion, Conference of Champions.
More on Murray Bartow when we come back. UCLA by 1 over Stanford, and the ties for Murray Bartow at UCLA go way back to his father, the late Gene Bartow. Murray actually took over for his dad at UAB and now takes over for Gene some 40 years later. There's Murray as a youngster.
Murray played at Birmingham.
John Wooden, how would we know he's the director if he doesn't have it on his shirt?
Because it's his camp. He's the director. And Murray grew up on the knee there. And this picture taken right at the end of the championship game in St. Louis in 1973. Gene Bartow, the vanquished coach. But Gene Bartow was the only coach that we ever played against who understood that Greg Lee was the key to our team. And his defensive theory and strategy was to take Greg out of the game. But that left me wide open in the basket area, and Greg was such a great player that double team, triple team was not going to stop his offensive attack.
One of the guys that had a big influence on Murray Bartow was Bob Knight. Murray was a GA at Indiana when Steve Alford was a junior and a senior there, and they won the national championship in 1987. Stanford with the lead. Cormac Ryan drills his 22nd 3. He's one of the leaders in the Pac-12 and made 3s.
From the inner city, New York City, right in the heart of everything. He really hadn't got out much. Oh, beautiful drive over the top, Moses Brown, throw it down, big man. It's like he's delivering the tablets.
You've gone with that twice now. Brown, in his debut, had 19 points and 17 rebounds. It's the first UCLA player since Kareem to have those kind of numbers. I say kind of, because in Kareem's first game, he had 56 points and 21 rebounds back in 1966.
Against USC. When they played USC at the first game of the whole season, not just in the conference. This is a great play by Prince Ali. Prince Ali drives the lane, gets all kinds of defenders to come his way, and then just put it over the top. And the way that Moses Brown is snatching that ball and throwing it down, he's showing legs, he's showing emotion and enthusiasm. That's an offensive foul there.
No, it wasn't. Hands for 3, it's good. Jalen Hands, only 31% of the year, drills the triple. UCLA shooting close to 60% early on.
If you did that to the person in front of you at the TSA line, what would they do to you?
Why would you do that to somebody in the TSA line? It doesn't even compute.
Look at that footwork and move.
Moses Brown picked up the foul, his first, and the 4th on UCLA. Let's take a look again at the
Okay, so he's coming up
by
the court.
Jalen Hands.
Cormac Ryan is right there. And you the forearm into the
extend the arm like you did just there as I'm calling the game.
That's not true.
Hey, you're going to knock me over one of these days. They changed the foul to Cody Riley on the other end.
Just work on your wide stance and you'll be fine.
Let's not go there again, please.
Even though we're not near Idaho.
Yeah, let's not do that. Akpala misses
Push
a 3.
the ball, Jalen Hands.
Hands steps back, tries it again, misses this time. And Akpala up there for the rebound.
I'm not sure why you would think that it's a good play to dribble the whole length of the court by yourself and then take your own shot going to your left.
But, Bill, that's been part of the problem with UCLA. They really don't have, even though Hands leads the conference in assists. They really don't have a true lead guard. One guy that they thought would fill that role this year, Tiger Campbell, he tore his ACL. He was a freshman. They lost him. That's a guy that really understood everybody's role on the floor.
So we hear this all the time. As soon as a guy gets hurt and he's out for the season, he becomes the most valuable player.
Well, I'm just telling what the coaches said. I mean, they've been watching him and recruiting him.
Please, you have to have a filter of some sort.
Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Entry pass. Riley's going to take the jumper and bury it from the free throw line.
This Bruin team has so much talent. I mean, you come with Bernard and Singleton off the bench. Did Riley start tonight? I can't even remember the start of this game.
7-0 run by UCLA. I'm not going to answer that if you don't pay attention. Corner three won't go.
Did Riley start tonight?
Isaac White. And here comes Chris Smith. No, he did not. There, I answered it for you. Shouldn't
thank
have.
you.
Smith misses, rebound by Stanford.
Because Riley normally starts. I'd like to see a lineup of Hans, Wilkes, Chris Smith, and then Moses and Riley or Hill.
Dallaire can't bank it in, rebounded by Chris Smith, the sophomore from Chicago.
The Fresh Prince of Dallaire.
Riley powers it up and in.
Power, strength, determination. The Bruins are just punishing this young Cardinal team. And the Cardinals are going to have to play with precision. Beautiful passing inside. That's a foul there.
Yeah, Smith picking up his second. So both Smith, Wilkes, and also Riley, 2 fouls apiece. On Saturday, Zion and #1 Duke taking on Clemson at Cameron Indoor. Tigers haven't won in Durham since 1995, that game at 8 Eastern on ESPN. How about the numbers for Zion Williamson? He's averaging 20 points, almost 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Have you ever seen a player quite like Zion?
Yes.
Okay, who?
Young Larry Johnson.
You don't think he's more skilled than Larry Johnson?
Larry Johnson was an NCAA
great player,
champion and 2 back-to-back Final Fours. They got crushed in that final game. Larry Johnson, despite everything else, was a fantastic college player.
Hands gets to the rim way too easily. If you're Stanford, the Cardinal give up another basket in the lane.
Did you ever see Sidney Wicks play college basketball?
No.
Okay.
But I did see Larry Johnson play.
So be careful when you say ever.
Well, that's what a lot of scouts are saying. Again, I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm telling you what scouts and GMs are saying.
Well,
I know you don't like that when I do that, but usually it works out that I'm correct. Here's Bernard on the drive, puts it in, another paint point.
I forgot that you're the guy that got Markelle Fultz the #1 overall pick.
I'm just telling you what the GMs were saying, and guess what? He was #1. Things haven't worked out so far for Markelle, but
we hope it does.
Yep, got a long way to go.
So, Danny Ainge fleecing Philadelphia once again.
Yeah, how good is Jason Tatum? They play Dallas tomorrow night on ESPN, by the way, in Boston. No Kyrie Irving.
Danny's got some of his scouts here tonight.
Singleton, and they're going to call Akpala for a foul. Boy, it didn't look like much.
A lot of NBA scouts here tonight. Wow, what a day here in Los Angeles today. Everybody's scratching their head, wondering what's going to come up next. I went to the source. Typically, he turned his back.
Coach, it's Bill Walton. I used to play for you. We need some help. UCLA is looking for a new coach. We need a new leader. Coach, please help. Coach, you used to tell us, illuminate the path forward. Never ask anybody to do something that you haven't already done or aren't willing to do yourself. pull the team together, define the terms of the conflict, do what others can't and won't do, lead the relentless offensive attack, the regular use of the word no, and then when things go wrong, assume responsibility yourself. And at the end, Coach, we all know it's about honor, sacrifice, and discipline. Please, Bob Myers, save us.
Yeah, former Bruin Bob Myers in on the search. Coach Wooden ignoring you like he did when you tried to call timeout and that loss to Notre Dame. Who do you think can succeed here? What type of characteristics should UCLA look for in the next coach?
Barack Obama.
Well, I don't think he's going to coach. So
Well, you keep saying that, but why? Why are you so negative? Why do you just turn down
give me some names?
his brother-in-law
Yeah,
coach?
Craig Robinson.
I'm sticking with Barack Obama until he says no.
How about Fred Hoiberg? That name has come up. Would you like to see somebody like Fred who's had success at the Division I level?
I only know Fred personally. I don't know him professionally. And that's why you have to have a search. And that's what Bob Myers is hopefully going to lead. There's a difference between lead and assist. Calling for the lead.
One thing, Bill, that
Did you just listen to what I said on that?
I did. One thing I think that'll be interesting to monitor is the coaches that you have to think UCLA is not going to go after somebody that's going to require a big buyout. They're not going to go. And I think the hire of Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly a fortune.
No, but
and they paid off Jim
Chip
Mora
Kelly
a fortune.
had been fired by the 49ers.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a buyout to pay. Which you would, they get some of the names that are being thrown out there in, about guys that currently have major college basketball or NBA jobs. So Chip Kelly is proof, though, that you can find a great coach out there. It's just, what are you willing to spend? Do they have the money allocated for that?
Have you ever driven around here? UCLA is centrally located between Brentwood, Bel Air, Century City, Beverly Hills, and Santa Monica. There is enough money. The challenge is to find the right person. And I'm sticking with Barack Obama until he tells me no.
Bill, you're one of the all-time great UCLA players.
And then we'll go to Jerry Brown. And then we'll go to Joe Biden and then John Kerry.
But people want your opinion as a former Bruin.
So how about do you know the story of Coach Val here? The women's gymnastics coach here. You know her story.
Got a held ball. It's going to stay with UCLA.
She knew nothing about gymnastics. Coach Val did nothing. She was a ballet dancer. She's a professional on-stage performer. And they hired her to come in and to build this program. And what Coach Val did, there's a remarkable book that she wrote, and it's just a phenomenal story. And she became great friends with Coach Wooden, and she knew people. She knew team building. She knew joy and happiness and fun. And never forget that John Wooden, he was not like a real fun type guy, friendly. I mean, he was a coach. He had a job to do, and he did it as well as anyone has ever done it. Beautiful ball movement.
Well, finding the right fit is key. It's clear that even though Steve Alford did go to 3 Sweet 16s, deserves credit for what he did developing some players. He had 11 guys that went to UCLA that are now in the NBA that played for Coach Alford, but the fit never felt right in talking to people around here. So how do you find the right fit for UCLA when it's a program that, it hasn't won a national championship in almost 25 years, hasn't been to a Final Four in more than a decade when Ben Howland had that run of 3 straight?
The leadership search. You get Bob Myers, you get Jerry West involved. Jerry, who lived and breathed UCLA basketball when he was the Lakers star as a player. Jerry now working with the Clippers and doing an excellent job. Lawrence Frank here tonight, running the show down there for Steve Ballmer. You get these people who love Los Angeles and who love UCLA and are willing to give some time to make it happen. Don't be in a rush. Don't be pressured.
Akpala gets the free throw. It's a 7-point UCLA lead at the 9-minute mark of the first half.
And also understand that character counts. Integrity, credibility, reliability.
Chris Wilkes back on the floor. He's got 2 fouls and no points. He's only taken 1 shot, but his team is up 7. Lob to Brown, a no-look alley-oop throw by Hands.
See, that's another one of the problems that you have. You don't put any stock in winning. You only put stock in stats. When your team is winning, everybody's playing well. When your team is losing, everybody stinks, and you got to just start over again.
A steal by Jalen Hands. Takes it to the rim. Is fouled off the bucket.
Pushed from behind.
Cormac Ryan with the foul. 16 foul on Stanford. And Hands will go to the line looking for his 10th point.
I don't think that Jared Hass's speech this afternoon is working. He talked about the toughness and grittiness coming in here today. But this Stanford team has been pushed around. They've been outrun. They've been just pounded in the basket area. But what a great story Jared Hass is. Who played at Cal, who had a fantastic high school coach in Tom Orlich up in Lake Tahoe. Beautiful play. Throw it down, big man.
The pressure by UCLA, full court defense forcing a turnover. Timeout, Stanford.
Now this is the celebration of life that college basketball is. We saw Baylor beat UConn earlier tonight in a great game, and the Bruins right now playing like champions in the Conference of Champions. Oh my gosh,
man,
I wonder.
Kevin, thank you for touching on that salient point about UCLA. Baylor's first win against an AP #1 team. And as you mentioned, Kevin, the 126-game win streak snapped in the regular season. You look at the bench points as well for Baylor. Two great coaches in Gino and Kim Mulkey. Congratulations to Baylor on the win.
That lady Kim, she's sharp as can be. I've seen her a lot, but Gino is the gold standard, the thorium standard. Perfection. Love what UConn does for basketball.
Stanford, by the way, has 4 baskets in this game. UCLA has 10 dunks.
Did you see the program that Gino and Steve Kerr put on at Berkeley? I take that as a no.
Sharma tries to put it back. No.
Beautiful play.
De Silva finally gets it to go. By the way, I heard you.
Oscar De Silva speaks 6 languages.
Speaking of Steve Kerr, I heard that you invaded his press conference on Christmas Day asking a question.
Steve Kerr would be on my list too for coaches here.
Well, he's not going to leave the Warriors.
Didn't Bob Myers find him, right?
Yeah, he's not.
When everybody said when Bob Myers made that pick, everybody said, "Oh, what's he ever done?"
I would love for you to actually name a real possible candidate rather than a former president or the head coach of the Warriors.
This is UCLA. You know, when Coach Wooden came here, it was 15 years before he won his first championship. Don't think it happens overnight.
Wills,
beautiful
nice floater,
runner.
Splashes it through, and that gets Stanford back within 10 with 7 to play in the first half. Wilkes from outside, off the mark, just one basket.
Push
so
the
far.
ball, AZ.
It's KZ.
AZ. I'm trying to figure it out.
Akpala gets the basket and a foul. He's from Orange County. His parents from Nigeria.
Yorba Linda he's from. You know who's also from there? Richard Nixon.
Interesting. Akpala will be at the free throw line where he shoots 77%.
A lot of Igbo spoken in the Akpala family home. Youngest of 4 children, KZ is. Started out in football as a running back. I don't know, we had a picture of Jim Brown the other night on the air. That was a running back.
8-point UCLA lead.
Oh my gosh.
Ali driving, and that is the 17th foul on Stanford. It's on De Silva, so it'll be a 1-and-1 for the Bruins. Monday on ESPN, the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T from Santa Clara, Levi Stadium, home of the 49ers. It is Clemson and Alabama, both coming off convincing wins because of the play of their quarterbacks, Tua Tagovailoa and Trevor Lawrence, who has been phenomenal this year for Clemson as a true freshman.
Okay, so Alabama's going for their 5th national title this decade, right? Are you familiar with Steely Dan? Don Fagen and Walter Becker.
Okay.
So they got a song, and the lyrics go something like this. They got a name for the winners of the world. I want a name when I lose. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Call me Deacon Blues.
So does that mean you're picking Clemson?
Who's playing and when?
Forget it.
Was that the... You sound like a quitter to me. Please. Nice pass. Oscar Da Silva. Play of the night for Stanford. His dad's a boxer. How about you? You a boxer?
Josh Sharma, by the way, the Pac-12 Player of the Week. It's an 8-0 run for Stanford right now to get back within 6. This has been a problem for UCLA. The Bruins don't handle adversity well. And here's a miss by Jalen Hands. Stanford trying to push tempo.
KZ. Is he related to Jay-Z? Oh, beautiful hands, Chris Smith. That guy can play. He needs more time.
He started. Akpala drives, and it gets stuck. It's going to stay with Stanford.
Now watch Moses get this without having to leave the ground. That is a tall guy out there.
Yeah, they don't need the broom.
I think he's taller than Kareem. He's been growing. I've only known the guy for a few months, but every time I see him.
So when you stood next to him, which you did earlier tonight, how much taller is he than you?
I'm going to say 6 inches.
No, you're 6'11".
I know, and he says he's 7'2". I was looking up at the guy. He's taller than Kareem.
He's listed at 7. So you think he's 7'4"?
I'm saying at least 7'3". 7'4" is like Burleson level. Another devil out there.
There are 8 players that measure 6'8" or taller.
Beautiful
on this UCLA
play.
Team.
Beautiful play.
Akpala working hard on the glass, sticks it back up and in, and it's a 4-point game here at Pauley.
Now it's coming together for the Cardinal. They drop back into the zone. Can they get the ball to the high post here? Beautiful pass there by Cody Riley.
It was?
Yes.
Hit the backboard. And then on the ground, they're going to call.
Moses has to move for that.
It was touched last out of bounds by Delaire, so it's UCLA ball.
Moses has to anticipate that pass is coming. I'm a big Cody Riley fan. They're going to have a timeout here on the floor.
Take a break. We need one. Bruins by 4 over Stanford.
UFC fans, this is the moment you truly all been waiting for.
Every time I see that promo, I get some tips for working with you for the next 3 months. A 10-0 run by Stanford to get within 4 of UCLA.
Be careful what you wish for.
Shot clock at 8. Smith driving.
Smith.
Nice pass to the corner. Singleton buries a 3. David Singleton is shooting 50% from out there. He's a freshman from here in Los Angeles.
These 2 freshman guards, Bernard and Singleton. Bernard from West LA here in Mar Vista, which is a really happening area right now, next to Culver City where Murray Bartow was living. And then Bishop Montgomery and Torrance for David Singleton. The future, UCLA. Great hands by Singleton.
And they got to hurry here. They only have 7 to shoot. Akpala.
Look at his range.
I
beautiful move.
Couldn't finish, though.
But the grace. I mean, all these NBA scouts here tonight. Boston represented, the Clippers, Minnesota with Jimmy Ian.
And you got Lawrence Frank here from the Clippers, the president of basketball operations.
Yeah, if you were listening, you would have heard that I said that already.
You said Lawrence Frank. You just didn't say who he was with or his title. So
everybody knows Lawrence Frank's the president of the Clippers. Please.
Really?
Yeah. You'd like me to explain that this is a basketball game invented in 1891, the same year that Stanford opened.
Stanford sticking with that zone. Smith
throw it down! What a play!
He missed.
That's why Chris Smith needs more time. Well,
3 on 2. Akpala, as UCLA did get back there.
His versatility, Akpala, KZ, most impressive.
You think he has an NBA future?
Yes. I think he's going to Stanford. He's got whatever future he wants. Josh Sharma, too good, too strong.
Stanford right now is just being more physical than UCLA, outworking him on the glass.
Wow.
They're within 7. of UCLA late in the first half.
Look at this day. California knocking on the golden door. Let's go.
Wow, they're throwing you under the bus back in the studio, Bill.
I'm also nominating Shep Gordon, that Hollywood sign that we saw. And who would want to turn on? This is a fantastic job at the most incredible university.
Bill, look at the graphic on the left, because that's a telling graphic for what's happening right now with the conference. The worst winning percentage in December.
Are you 30
by
yet?
Major conference.
Are you 30 years old yet?
I'm
you
older
look
than
so short term. I mean, can you even remember this morning? These two schools, Stanford and UCLA, are the two most successful athletic programs in the history of intercollegiate athletics.
Right.
The Conference of Champions is a fact. That's not an opinion.
I understand.
UCLA is winning this game.
What about this year in the Pac-12?
Well,
are you concerned?
All the players left and went to the NBA or to Kentucky. You don't just pick up in 1 year.
Sharma can't get it, rebounded by Moses Brown.
You're probably going to start criticizing Jay Wright, who's only won 2 of the last 3 championships. Come on.
I didn't make the graphic up. I'm just asking you why you
have
think
a
the
filter,
Pac-12's struggling.
please. I mean, somebody put some graphic up there and you feel you have to like give it credence.
All right, let's move on. Josh Sharma picks up his 3rd foul.
Well, I'm trying to move on.
It's the 18th foul, so he's going to have to go to the bench.
Josh Sharma's awesome.
Moses Brown will be at the line.
His dad's from India. His mom's from England. They met in Massachusetts when she was in medical school and he was getting his PhD.
Look at Moses Brown, 38% free throw shooter. We saw him today at shoot-around really working on that stroke, and he gets the first one.
Speaking of free throws, let's give a great congratulations to Sharif O'Neal, who's here tonight. He just had his open heart surgery just a couple weeks ago, but he's back at it, and what a story. He looks fantastic, and we wish the whole O'Neal family all the success in the world.
Yeah, not having him, we already talked about Tiger Campbell, and also Alex Olshinsky, who's about to check into the game. He hasn't played yet after suffering a foot injury in September.
Stress fracture.
So those are 3 guys that would have had an impact on this UCLA team this year.
Look, I love all those guys. UCLA has more than enough talent to get this done.
Smith, no good on the
Look at Moses over the top. Come on, big man, deliver.
He does with the layup, and the lead is back to 9.
What are the cornerstones of the pyramid of success? Industriousness, enthusiasm. Do you love what you're doing, or are you willing to work? Moses has come to pound. Offensive foul on the dribble handoff.
That's that wide base.
Wide stance, please.
On De Silva.
The Larry Craig move. Okay, Moses just so good and so strong. I mean, you're just reaching out over the top. Who's the tallest guy you've ever been next to? And
Yao Ming.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Now, Moses is not nearly as tall as Yao Ming. Yao Ming makes me look like a teenager.
He does, but Yao's 7'7". You said earlier you thought Moses Brown was 7'5".
I said 7'3". Yao Ming is 7'13". Over the top! Chris Smith and Moses is right there to clean it up. In the rim, in the circle.
Another term for that is basket interference, and it's Stanford ball. 9-point UCLA lead. Bruins trying to end a 4-game losing streak. As you look at some of
Mike Lanier, tallest player since Mike Lanier. I'm going to say Mike Lanier's got to be the tallest player ever. Well, Mark Eaton was here. That's a big dude. Look at that footwork.
And there's Moses with the block.
Oh, come on.
At least we thought it was a block when it happened.
Moses can't believe it. Wow. The quick elevation. I'm reading Harvey Erickson's new book, Elevated, right now. That's a great block, please. Just because the refs can't make that play.
You didn't think it was on the way down? Look at it.
No.
Look at it again. Well, it hit the backboard. It hit the backboard.
Let's take 7 more looks at it.
Well, I think we just showed you the one you needed to see. Tough shot that drops for Jules Bernard, another freshman on this UCLA roster.
One of 3 left-handers available to Murray Bartow. Murray Bartow, an avid cyclist on that LA River bike path and then the Santa Monica Bay.
2 Bruins hit the deck, and the 3 goes for Cormac Ryan.
Cormac, who grew up in New York City. family made a trip to Yellowstone, and they were sitting in the car. They'd barely ever been outside. They were sitting in the car, and a big bison came up and started banging his head against the car window. Oh my gosh. You ever been to Yellowstone? You've heard of Yellowstone. You ever seen Ken Burns' National Parks, America's Best Idea? Last play, here we go.
Hands for three, no good. Olashinsky up high.
Look at the spirit and passion. College basketball at its best. What a game, right down to the wire.
We've got 1 half to go, Bill. UCLA shooting 46% and holding Stanford at 32% shooting, plus the Bruins dominating the paint, but it's only a 6-point UCLA lead. Dodge halftime report, Kevin Connors, Dallin Cuff, Sean Farnham. Guys?
I need a filter and a break.
Welcome back to UCLA, where the Bruins have a 6-point lead over Stanford as we get ready to start the second half. And Murray Bartow's debut as the interim head coach. 18 years at East Tennessee State and UAB, also the interim coach at South Florida a couple years ago. First year as an assistant with the Bruins this year, and he replaces the fired Steve Alford.
He was a right-handed player. I asked him if he was more like Magic Johnson or more like Steve Nash or more like Russell Westbrook. He said he was more like, I can't remember who he said. Was it Andy Hill?
Let's move on from that. Let's talk about what just happened here, because you saw a great start for UCLA. They're up 14, Bill, but now they're only up 6. So the points in the paint was big for the Bruins in that first half, but can they keep it going?
What a game. Sure they can keep it going. They're UCLA. It said the mighty Bruins. You saw how beautiful the campus looks. In the paint, establish yourself. Didn't you listen to Walton's World? Define the terms of the conflict. Make him play your game. I've noticed. Chris Smith was spectacular. Didn't have a lot of efficiency in terms of getting it done, but he initiated that relentless offensive attack and the spirit. And little Murray Bartow, his mom Ruth, 87 years young, is watching in Birmingham tonight. And Jared Haas, when he was the coach at Birmingham, he was so kind to Ruth. Gene died a few years ago. Gene was a great friend of our family, a great friend of everyone here at UCLA. Beautiful. Chris Smith.
By the way, it was 7 years ago today that Gene Bartow passed away, January 3rd, 2012.
So Gene would, and Steve Fisher and Coach Frieder would come over to our house, and we'd have lunch, and we'd just sit there all day and talk about basketball. It was just fantastic.
You know, it's interesting you bring up Steve Fisher, because remember, he took over for Bill Frieder on an interim basis and led them all the way. So we'll see what Murray Bartow can do with this Bruin team. The rest of the staff is still intact.
Give him the ball down there, please.
Man, you blow up my headset with that. But Moses Brown had a terrific first half. Here's Ryan in transition over Wilkes.
Look at that defense by Chris Wilkes. You know what Coach Wooden used to say when you didn't get the ball to the postman down there? Say, if you don't get him the ball down there, you're coming out. We got the ball.
Chris Wilkes with a rebound, just 1 of 4, 0 for 3 from three-point range.
Playing time. The coach's best friend is the bench.
Jalen hands to Smith, who was
drive right by him, Chris. The guy closes out so poorly and lazily like that. Let's go.
Smith 1 for 8 in the first half.
Over the top.
Yeah, but got to get it higher than that.
You would think for a guy who's 7'3".
Akpala with the interception.
Jared Haas has done a magnificent job tonight. He's one of my favorites. We got a lot of great coaches in the Conference of Champions. And he's right at the top of the list. Oh, beautiful move.
Ball fake by De Silva, gets to the rim. Jared Haas in his 3rd year as the Stanford head coach led them to a 3rd place finish last year, went to the NIT.
Lost in the 2nd round there up at Utah.
Prince Ali way off.
Jared Haas lives on campus there. Look at all the wonderful fans coming by, getting to their seats here. This pavilion is so beautiful.
UCLA has lost 4 in a row, including a 15-point defeat 5 days ago to Liberty.
Never should have scheduled Liberty. That will be a stain that is unremovable from this great university.
Because they lost him?
No, because they scheduled Liberty.
Prince Ali short on the slam attempt, and then a Stanford foul is called. But that's one of the issues with scheduling now, because you don't know year to year the mid-major teams who's going to be good and who's not, who's going to have a veteran team. And
if you don't know the history of Liberty University, just go look it up. And that's why it's an unremovable stain on this great university, UCLA.
UCLA had 24 turnovers in that game, only 4 in the first half tonight, so they've cleaned that up. Dallaire just picked up his 3rd foul, and Prince Ali, a junior from the Bronx, 58% free throw shooter, misses the first one.
You know, Stanford's also a great university.
You went to law school there, right?
I went to both of these schools. It was fantastic. UCLA, 419 acres in total land size, the smallest of all the UC schools other than UC San Francisco, the medical school. Stanford, 8,180 acres in the middle of Silicon Valley. A $25 billion endowment. And to their credit, they have eliminated home equity from financial aid packages at Stanford University, joining Harvard and MIT.
In local news, Prince Ali with a
Great
kick deflection at
10-second violation, and the crowd erupts here at Pauley Pavilion. And are you old enough to know, in years gone by, that as soon as the Bruins would score, the Bruin fans would start the countdown. 10, 9, 8, and like the Grateful Dead, the pace kept getting faster and faster, and the place would just erupt when the 10-second violation, the result of the press. Just fantastic. That's over-dribbling there, please.
It's a foul on Cormac Ryan. That is his 2nd foul, and the 2nd on Stanford in the half. It's a 5-point UCLA lead. Stanford at 7-5. Losses to Kansas in overtime.
Yeah, at Kansas.
North Carolina, Florida, Wisconsin, and at San Francisco, which is having a good year.
Look, that is fantastic scheduling. Bernard Muir, their excellent athletic director. Mark Tessier-Levine, the incredible president who had the unenviable job of replacing John Hennessy, but he's done it.
They also lost all those games, but they did beat some teams this year. They beat some teams this year they lost to last year, like Long Beach State. There's Wilkes with the jumper, his 2nd field goal.
Okay, now here's the press. Start the count if you're the fan for UCLA.
They didn't hear you. De Silva.
Pass. Trevor Stanback is going to be able to deliver that. Look at that move.
Wild shot by Wills, rebounded by Smith.
But he's a wonderful talent, Wills. You look at what they've got there coming up. All these freshmen. Cormac Ryan, C-Mac they call him, or just Mac. Bryce Wills, White Plains, New York. That's just above the city.
Thank you. And also, Dejon Davis has not played yet. We were told he's available.
He's not going to play tonight. If he hasn't played by now, he's not going to. With a sprained ankle, you don't just sit over there for an hour and then come in.
Well, again, we were told, though, that he was cleared and was available to play.
Well, if I tell you to take this package on the airplane, what are you going to do with that?
Especially if it's from you, no shot. Won't even touch it. There's Akpala in the lane getting the basket. Boy, he's going to be something. KZ Akpala, sophomore from Orange County, 17 points already. Wilkes fouled on the way up. It's a 13 foul on Stanford.
Bruins just punishing the Cardinal inside. Down the lane. KZ, JZ, you pick a letter, deliver.
Dave Pash with Hall of Famer Bill Walton, and since we have a coaching change at UCLA with Murray Bartow taking over for Steve Alford, take us back to your favorite coaches, Bill.
I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I played for the best. On the left, Rocky, my first coach, incredible. And on the right is my dad, greatest parents ever, greatest childhood ever. My high school coach at Helix, Gordon Nash, the biology teacher, incredible. Let's go celebrate life. And then John Wooden in the center, Greg Lee on the left, the key to the team. I hope Jamal is here tonight too. And then from there on to the NBA, Lenny Wilkins, incredible. What a force of nature. Jack Ramsey, the coach that made me the best player I ever was. Absolutely spectacular. Another immortal Irishman. And then on the Celtics with Red Auerbach, basically the same person as John Wooden, and then Casey Jones.
And then there's your real favorite coach right there. The head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm the luckiest and proudest dad in the world. Oh, that was a terrible loss last night.
No LeBron, that obviously is
no
having
Rondo,
an impact.
no Kyle Kuzma. But
Moses Brown with the block there.
Look at Moses Brown.
But LeBron,
LeBron is incredible and fantastic player. And what a fantastic dude, too. Now that's a
contact
technical
underneath.
foul. Once the whistle blows, you cannot foul a guy again.
Just a common foul.
Because otherwise,
Delaire, that is his 4th and the 4th-team foul on Stanford.
if they don't enforce the rules against contact after the whistle,
I don't think they heard the whistle because play continued.
look, not hearing it is not a defense.
Hands misses a 3.
A lot of guys with hearing challenges have done very well. Beethoven, Neil Young, Stephen Colbert. That guy's awesome. That's a foul there.
That's on Moses Brown. That is the first UCLA foul and the second on Brown.
Okay, so let's just tell this incredible story about Jared Haas, the coach. He was playing at Cal in Los Angeles against USC in 1993. During the game, his dad, Gary, dies unexpectedly. He doesn't know it. Late in the game, he commits the foul. Jared does. USC makes 2 free throws, and the Trojans win. Jeff Wilbrun, who was then a coach at Cal, he took Jared to the movies after the game, went down to Venice Beach, tried to get it all together. And with the option to go home to be with the family, Jared Haas said, I'm staying and we're going to help the Bruins beat UCLA. Stanford came into Pauley Pavilion. Jared Haas had 16 points in 30 minutes, and the Cardinal beat the Bruins by 22 points, the worst UCLA home loss at the time ever. Jeff Wilbrun still with Jared Haas. He named his son Jared after his great friend Jared Haas, and the Bruins are lighting it up here at Pauley.
Hands now with 13 points to lead the Bruins in scoring, the only UCLA player in double figures. Yeah, Jared Haas played at Cal, then transferred to Kansas, where he was a teammate of Paul Pierce and
Rafe
Jacques Vaughn.
LaFrance. Rafe LaFrance, what a team. And what a legendary team. Played for Roy Williams there.
Wow, Akala.
Look at that rebound.
Jalen Hill with the board, and
So
out of bounds to Stanford.
Stanford has 38 points. Come on, I mean, this is about offense. This is about being able to fill it up. You start the game slowly. You start the second half slowly.
Well, they haven't shot well. They're at 33% for the game.
That's kind of what offense is.
3 for 14 from three-point range.
But UCLA is not having to worry about anything at the basket area, so they can guard from the perimeter. That's why you establish yourself down low. Why do you think that all three-point shooters played with the great post people? You know, look at Steve Kerr. You got to play with Michael Jordan. You got to play with Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and all these guys.
By the way, other than Barack Obama and Steve Kerr, have you come up with a real candidate for the UCLA job yet?
You know, when I saw the Hollywood sign on the earlier bumper, I thought of Shep Gordon when he came here to Los Angeles from Buffalo and New York. And oh my God, how things have changed.
What about Luke Walton for the UCLA job? If you're going down that road, I'll just throw that one out there. Wills is fouled.
Luke turned UCLA down years ago as a high school player. Both our two youngest sons both turned Coach Lavin down. Coach Lavin, by the way, you look back at the numbers, his numbers when he was here, very, very solid numbers. But this UCLA job, this is the easiest job.
But is it still an elite job? Is it the job that it was 20 years ago?
The people who want it think it is.
But there were people that didn't. It's no secret that Brad Stevens turned the job down. There were others that turned the job down.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Is it the job that it was 20 years ago? You still haven't answered.
Yes, it is. It's a great job. It's a wonderful job.
Here's a steal by Akala. Look out. Gets the slam. Make it a 6-point game.
I made my decision to come here 50 years ago. It was as great a decision as I've ever made. I never regretted my decision, although UCLA certainly regrets offering me the scholarship. Time out here on the floor. Wow.
By Murray Bartos. So this, he's obviously done this before. 18 years as a head coach, 12 at East Tennessee State, 6 at UAB. Stanford making a run. Akala with the breakaway slam. It's a 6-point game. Dave Pash with Bill Walton. UCLA's lead is 6. It's very rare in college basketball to see a mid-season coaching change. It happened 3 days ago here in Westwood. Steve Alford, after 5.5 years, let go. The last 2 years and 4 of 5 years, he led them to the NCAA tournament. His first year, they won the Pac-12 tournament. Did not win a regular season title. Won 31 games 2 years ago with Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf. 3 Sweet 16s. Last year they lost in the first 4 to St. Bonaventure, and then off to a 7-6 start this year, including the 4-game losing streak with the loss to Liberty, which led to the eventual fire. And
Bob Lanier did not play in that St. Bonaventure loss. Dan Guerrero made the decision there. This all went down on Monday morning. Steve Alford, he met with the team at the Mo Austin Center after he was let go. Then Dan Guerrero gave his speech, and then Tyus Edney got up and just electrified the room. Tyus Edney, he talked to the guys about what it means to be a UCLA Bruin. Murray Bartow, he knows. He was here as a young child. Murray Bartow was a great friend of Bruce Hornsby. And when Murray Bartow was the ball boy here, he got to live and basically be with Marcus Johnson, David Greenwood, Roy Hamilton, Kiki Vandoy, Jimmy Spillane, Andre McCarter on a daily basis. That kind of stuff stays with you for the rest of your life, the same way it was for Steve Kerr when he was a young boy and a ball boy here for UCLA.
Meanwhile, in this game, UCLA up 6 with 7 minutes gone by here in the second half. Pac-12 opener for both teams. Alex Olszynski getting his first minutes of the season. Averaged about 4 points per game a year ago.
Alex is a key player for this Bruin squad.
Singleton from deep strokes in his second 3-ball.
Every time Stanford gets anywhere close, the Bruins just ratchet it up. What the Bruins need to do is learn how to just play with that sort of urgency and emotional commitment every single moment. The games are so short in college basketball. Zone defense for the Bruins here. Can the Cardinal get it to the free throw line? Oscar's begging for it.
Akpala short. Hands has it for the Bruins. Again looking to push pace. Fires underneath to Olszynski. Here's Bernard taking it baseline.
Beautiful.
Great hesitation to Sharma. Didn't want to pick up his 4th foul.
Shades of Sharunas Marshallonis. Power, strength, shades of Manu Ginobili. Both of those guys, greatest of their day.
Sharma got the offensive rebound and was fouled. He'll go to the line when we come back.
Timeout here on the court. Stanford trying to show signs of life here. Bruins, though, just keep wearing him down, and the ability. Why would you guard him way out there? He hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Please, mental decisions.
Saturday, conference play starts in the ACC.
Yeah.
Clemson on ESPN at 8 Eastern time. Also available on the ESPN app. Zion Williamson has been phenomenal. Best guy you've seen in person this year in college basketball?
I love Zion Williamson. Remember when you were a child and you would go and play on the 8-foot rims at the elementary school? That's what it looks like when he plays on these 10-foot rims. I mean, volleyball spikes, lob throwdowns, coast-to-coast dribbling. He is a very special player. They got an RJ, we got a KZ.
Yeah, that's RJ Barrett.
He's really good. Steve Nash is his godfather. Zion is excellent. Cam Reddish, tremendous. Trey Jones, love his game. It was so fun to watch Duke play in the Maui gym. Why don't you do the Maui gym? What's your name again?
Free throws go for Sharma. It's 53-44 UCLA. 8 minutes gone by here in the second half. Chris Wilkes.
Bruins getting whatever they want.
Really. Tough shot there. Good defense underneath by Stanford. Out of bounds. Going to stay with the Bruins.
The Bruins passed the ball to the wing. They passed the ball inside. They basically had a layup, but Jules Bernard, why pump fake when you're wide open?
There were 3 guys on it.
Oh, please.
Here's
Are
Singleton.
you watching the game or are you just memorizing stats over there?
Here's Wilkes. 6 points on the night. And they're going to say Ryan reached in and committed the foul. So that is 3 on him. 15 foul for the Cardinal.
You mentioned UCLA, and is this a good deal, right? 137,000 students applied to go here. This is the #1 school in America for college transfer students. A third of the undergraduate students at UCLA are transfer-in students. Gene Block, the great chancellor here, he makes a real point of that, and the entire UC system is fantastic at it.
Wilkes gets a second free throw. UCLA is not shooting the ball well at the line tonight, just 50%. The lead is back to 10, though. I don't think there's any question that it's a good job. The question is it what it once was? Can you
ask Chip Kelly what he thinks?
Can you get somebody of the names that are being thrown out there, some of which
ask
are
all the
never
people
gonna
who
happen?
were calling me saying, Bill, get me the job. Bill,
All right,
get me
so who?
I'm not in charge.
Name some names that are calling you looking for the job that you think would be good candidates, because Barack Obama's not available. That's the
How
only.
do you know that? Has he turned it down yet?
You're really not going to answer this. I mean, there are people that want to know, Bill, who you think out there would be a legitimate candidate, qualified to take
have, and I
UCLA job?
will let the appropriate people know.
Okay.
But, you know, I learned from Jerry West. You know, Jerry West is one of my heroes. You know, Jerry West never plays his hand. Don't you know what the rule is? If you're playing cards and 30 minutes in, if you don't know who the fool is, it's you.
Empty possession there by Stanford.
Let it fly, Alex. Come on.
You want him to shoot that?
Yes, I want Alex to shoot every time. The guy's a wonderful player.
Here's Wilkes. That was a good skip pass, and Wilkes pays it off with a triple.
I'm just brokenhearted when I see the guys get the stress fractures. You know, I'm Bol up there. I never even got to see him play.
Yeah, it's really disappointing that we will not
Alex,
get to see him this year in person.
Then we got Kevin Porter over at USC injured. His is not a stress fracture.
So taking a look at some of the Pac-12 headlines.
Okay.
Arizona beating Colorado earlier tonight.
Arizona's got a good team. As soon as they understand that they'll be a lot better. Foot surgery. I didn't know that he had the surgery. So I'm looking forward to Kyler Kelly. I've got Oregon State Saturday night. The longest running rivalry in all of college basketball. 351st game coming up Saturday night at Matthew Knight Arena. Timeout here. Wow. When you have to waste a timeout to maintain possession with 10 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the half, man, don't like that decision.
All right, Bill.
We staying here?
We are. So
so let's tell this story.
Well, hold on. Before you go there, because you touched on Bol Bol.
Right.
This is an important story here. So Bol Bol, college.
So was mine.
Dana Altman was leaning on him with all the guys that they've lost the last couple of years. A lot of programs are now doing that because every year for some of these programs, you've got a new team. What are your thoughts on what should happen with the one-and-done rule? Because obviously it's having a major impact on both the NBA and college basketball.
I used to be completely against guys leaving early. I've totally changed on that. I mean, look at it as parents think of their children going to college to get a job, and these jobs that these guys are leaving early for, if anybody in the Henry Samueli School of Engineering left early to go to work for Google or Apple or Microsoft or Amazon, all these Conference of Champions companies, the parents would be ecstatic. If somebody came to you and said, hey man, how about $100 million in stock options at Google? Would you take that? And would your parents be happy for you? Yes. Don't blame these poor young basketball players, many of them who come from very, very tough backgrounds.
So get rid of the one-and-done rule and just let high school players go to the NBA again?
No.
Isaac White hits a three, or make it you either got to stay 2 years or go right to the NBA. Add that wrinkle to it.
Get the smartest people in the room. Get Coach K, get Jay Wright, get Coach Calipari in there, get the top athletic directors, get the top business guys, get the NBA involved, and come up with a real plan.
Well, you have to get the NBA involved. It's their rule. Wilkes goes for the dunk, missed it, but a foul is called on Sharma, and that is 4 on him.
I loved college basketball. I still love college basketball. That's why I'm here.
And you think, and I'm with you, that the one-and-done rule has hurt the Pac-12 more than the other conferences because we're seeing all the NBA players that are leaving. And look at UCLA. Imagine that team 2 years ago with T.J. Leaf and Lonzo Ball if they had one more year. Because about the time you figure out the identity of your team, and Kentucky's got so many of those guys, and Duke has so much talent that they can overcome.
Well,
what's
to keep UCLA and all the conference and champion schools from getting those guys? Arizona lost their entire team last year, and they got a lot of talent still. So,
but they're not the same team as Duke or Kentucky. They don't have the same.
That just means that the conference and champion school. Well, why not?
Here's a steal by Chris Smith. Smith with the step through and the swat.
Look at Moses Brown. Run the floor. Throw it down. This is the best I've ever seen him play.
He's having his best game of the season. And just the overall impact on the game.
Well, he's playing against a really good team. Throw it down.
Wills, the freshman.
White Plains, New York, 6'6". He and Cormac Ryan, the future in the backcourt for Jared Haas.
He just turned 18 a couple months ago. Youngest player in the Pac-12, seventh youngest in all of college basketball.
And you combine him with Jaden Dallaire, the fresh prince of Dallaire.
Great lob pass by Hands to Brown.
If you're Stanford, you might want to think about trying to deny that play.
Only so much you can do when you throw it up that high.
That's not true. So first of all, you stop guard penetration, because that's what sets that play up. I mean, that's not Moses Brown. Moses Brown just being, an incredibly gifted young man.
So do you have to be physical with Brown on a play like that?
You have to guard the guards out in front, and don't let the guards come down the lane.
Wilkes misses a three. Stanford in transition, down 14. White is second three. Timeout Stanford. That will leave them with only one for the rest of the game.
So what these guys who are guarding Moses Brown should do is just tell the coach, hey, look, I'm just going to stay on Moses Brown. I'm going to let these guards come down the lane, and you blame the guards here. That's not my fault. Poly Pavilion, UCLA, the Bruins, mighty powerful tonight. Moses Brown, so quick to the ball, anticipation, figure out what is next. Oh, a throwdown right there. Bryce Wills, I didn't see that one coming, but his elbows are above the rim basically without even jumping.
If you were to give Moses Brown one piece of advice as a former NBA center, because you look at Brown, you see the length.
Take your time, work on physical conditioning. NBA basketball, much more so than college basketball, is more about durability than ability. You got to be able to run, you got to be able to move constantly all day long. Chris Smith, that guy is awesome.
And
I've been calling for that guy to get more time ever since he walked in this building. I was here on his recruiting visit.
He started.
Met his dad.
He's starting.
For the first time in his UCLA career? Please. Let's move on to something more positive. Like Phil Knight and the incredible story he has with Stanford University. He went there, business school. That's where he wrote the business plan for Nike, the crazy idea. And then when he was writing Shoe Dog, he didn't like what he was doing. So he went down there to the creative writing school and sat in on the classes. Look at Moses Brown.
Prince Ali can't finish but a foul, but great look ahead and awareness by Moses Brown.
And so when Phil Knight went back to Stanford to the creative writing school, which also turned out Ken Kesey from years ago, this was an opportunity where he learned from other people how to do something that he wasn't very experienced at. And so as you transition that, as Shoe Dog became one of the great international bestsellers of all time.
Yeah, that's great, but what does that have to do with this here?
Moses Brown. Call up Kareem. Call up Akeem. Go over to Sharif O'Neal and say, hey, can I have lunch with your dad?
Has he picked your brain?
Yeah,
okay.
He does.
Good.
I learned from Jerry West the way that Danny Ainge today. Danny Ainge doesn't play his hand. Danny Ainge, one of the great post feeders of all time. Danny Ainge, one of the brilliant general managers. I mean, what he has done in stockpiling talent there.
Going to be interesting, Bill, to watch the Celtics because with Gordon Hayward back, he had a great night.
Out of bounds
last night, but watching the Celtics, it's like the young guys, Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are figuring out their roles, which are different this year because Hayward's back and Kyrie's healthy.
You know what the role is? Guard somebody, make a shot, get a rebound, win the game. That's really simple. It doesn't take much to figure that part out, okay? And don't wait around for things to happen.
Are they the team to beat in the East?
I'm not qualified to say that.
What do you mean? You watch NBA basketball every night?
No, I don't. I don't have to. Look, I'm either in the air, on the air, or on stage every night.
Are you going to answer any of my questions tonight?
As soon as you come up with a realistic one.
Real information.
Like what'd you think of Shoe Dog, and what do you think of going to graduate school at Stanford?
I'm asking questions that the fans care about, not like 4 people watching. I'm talking to the majority. Moses Brown picks up his 3rd foul.
Please, I take that as an insult to my friends in Oregon who love Phil Knight.
So the Celtics, are they the team to beat in the East, yes or no? Just your opinion.
I don't know.
Dallaire at the free throw line, and he gets the bounce on the first one. Are the Warriors the team to beat in the NBA?
Yes. And I love the Warriors. And I love Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Andre Iguodala. And I love Steve Kerr and Bob Myers. And Bob Myers, please save us.
DeMarcus Cousins will join the roster before we know it.
I'm willing to learn to love others.
What do you have against DeMarcus Cousins? What did he do to you? Chris Wilkes with the slam. And the lead back to 16. The Bruins pulling away here late in the second half, trying to end a 4-game losing streak, which included a 15-point home loss to Liberty. They force a turnover. Slams it home.
And the faithful here at UCLA just rising as one. Spectacular night of Conference of Champions basketball.
3 goes again for Isaac White, the Australian.
Adelaide, you ever been there? 2-hour flight south of Sydney. Whoa, tough shot that time.
So with 5:38 remaining.
This has been a slam dunk-a-thon here. Great defense on the press. I'm not sure why UCLA doesn't just press all the time. When you have the most talent, when you're bigger, faster, stronger than the other team, you want the game to get going up and down. I mean, that's what Duke does. That's what Kentucky does.
15 dunks tonight for UCLA. Tough shot that goes for Jaylen Hands there.
When does Kentucky play at Auburn? Isn't that coming up? This like any day now.
We're going to have a foul called here.
Can we get somebody in our staff to find out when
UCLA.
Kentucky's playing at Auburn so we can put that on our calendar and program our DVRs?
Jaylen Hands, first foul, and the 17th foul in UCLA.
Our thanks to our tremendous producer. What's his name again?
Dr. No.
Oh, Tim, yes, little Timmy. He is brilliant. He should be the next coach of UCLA.
So you've picked the TV producer, a former president, and the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. At some point, you'll come up with a realistic option based on what you've seen through the first 2 months of the season.
So you know that when John Wooden got here, he couldn't stand it. He wanted to go home.
January 19th, Kentucky at Auburn, by the way. So
January 19th.
You got 2 weeks from Saturday.
Don't miss that game. Wherever you are, just make sure you are tuned in. That will be an event for the ages. Auburn is tremendous, particularly at home.
Well, to your point about John Wooden not liking it at UCLA initially, as Moses Brown powers it in. You've got to embrace the culture. It's different coaching at UCLA in the #2 market and the expectations here, and obviously all the success of the pro sports franchises.
UCLA should never have to explain its standard of excellence and the pursuit of perfection. That's what UCLA means to anybody who ever went here. And Lori and I, staying right next door at the Luskin Center, we looked at each other and said, why don't we just live here? And why don't we just spend all day, every day on campus? Great pass. I tell you, this guy, Chris Wilkes, he knows how to set up a big man.
Yeah, that was a shot, but Moses Brown with another basket. He is 8 of 9 from the floor, 17 points.
You really don't believe in being an optimist.
He's also got 9 rebounds. Akpala challenges Brown, can't finish.
And that's the way you attack a big man. Get right in his face. Lean in. You know, I'm an optimist. I looked at all the other options and I said to myself, that's a waste of time.
What did Lori say when you said, why don't we just live here at the Luskin
She
Center?
concurred. She went to UCLA here.
Yeah.
Too.
What would you do at the home where the boys grew up that you've lived in for 35 years?
Oh, we keep that one too. We're not giving that. That's
I don't know
my
that anybody
dream.
would buy it. I've been there.
That's my dream.
You get the teepee with it, which
Look, our house is not for sale.
foul called here on Cormac Ryan. So look, UCLA has bounced back. They faced some adversity, Bill, and they handled it well. It's something they had not been doing. So is that a sign that the Bruins are ready to take that next step here in 2019?
Is that a rhetorical question or a real question?
What do you mean? It's a real question.
Okay. How do you create success? By the continued repetition of good habits. You do good things every single day, and then you learn how to practice at a certain level of excellence, and then when you come to the game, you ratchet it up more because these incredible fans here at Pauley Pavilion, literally the first great fan base in all of college basketball, maybe in the entire sport of basketball. And they filled this place. They built this place because wonderful fans and the support of the community. Throw it down.
Oh man, Prince Ali going upstairs is fouled and will go to the line when we come back. Well, we talked earlier about some of your favorite coaches growing up and your favorite coach in the NBA, but the greatest head coach that I know of involved with Bill Walton is Laurie M. Walton. Your pride.
I concur. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Hell, my hero, what a show you've got. My goodness gracious.
Did you notice
that guy rocks?
Yeah, did you notice that he said Sean Farnham's coming on because at least Sean will tell Scott who he thinks is a legitimate candidate for UCLA, unlike you.
So why should Sean share that information as opposed to share it with Bob Myers?
Because that's his job. It's your job too. You're both broadcasters for ESPN being asked your opinion on who should be in the mix for the UCLA head coaching.
Some of the guys have jobs. Some of the guys don't have jobs. You don't want to embarrass somebody if you put their name out there and they get shut down and nobody will even take their call, please. But I'm proud. I'm proud, loyal, and grateful of UCLA and also of my time at Stanford University, where I spent a couple years there midway through my NBA career. And the collaboration between Stanford and UCLA on artificial intelligence, on climate change, all the things that are going on, UCLA with the new solar technology, Stanford's commitment to 100% solar energy in 2 years. Beautiful fast break. This press has been dynamic.
Singleton with the basket and a foul, and UCLA has blown it open, a 21-point lead.
You know what? One of the biggest.
About artificial intelligence? Isaac White picked up the foul as first.
You know, I know you're a denier of facts and science, but it has already been established that as the temperatures are rising, that conception rates go down. And when the climate changes, things and people die. And if you want to stay alive, and if you want your children and grandchildren to stay alive, you better get on the bus.
3.5 to go in the second half, a kicked ball. Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Yeah. It's the FCS championship game.
What's
football
that?
Championship subdivision.
Okay.
I knew you were going to ask me that. Eastern Washington taking on North Dakota State, the Bison, who are the defending champs. They've won 6 of the last 7 years. Carson Wentz played there. You know who he is.
Huh. Bison. Is that the same Bison that hit
Bison. Bison is how you say that. You look at the numbers for both schools this year. They're playing this game in Frisco, Texas, but you know Eastern Washington's field is red?
No, isn't that in Cheney, Washington, just outside of Spokane?
Cheney. Cheney is how you say it.
Cheney. How do you spell it? Is there a double E?
C-H-E-N-E-Y.
Okay, there's 2 E's, but they're not consecutive.
Just telling you how it's pronounced. I didn't make it up on my own.
So isn't there a correlation between spelling and pronunciation? Please.
Well, I don't know. You called the KZ Akpala Jay-Z.
Well, Jay-Z is the uncle of one of the Washington Huskies star players, Naz Carter. I saw the Huskies the other night. They played a second half for the ages in Alaska Airlines Arena.
All right,
that's a great airline.
Other than UCLA, because I know you're going to say that.
Right.
Who are the legitimate contenders in the Pac-12?
A lot of them.
You got to throw Arizona State in there.
Arizona State's good.
Blew a 17-point lead to Utah tonight.
They need to realize that it's about skill. They've got physical talent this year up front. Beautiful job. Arizona's going to be good. The Stanford team, once they realize that they got to play defense underneath the boards and fight from the opening tip, they'll be a real team. But looks as if Jared Haas is thrown in the white towel here.
Well, they're down 24 inside 3 minutes to go. I know in the past you've said 8, 9, 10 Pac-12 teams are going to make the NCAA tournament. That's not happening this year as the rebound
Look
goes
at that
to Jalen
outlet
Hill.
pass.
Prince Ali with the basket and a foul, a three-point opportunity.
Okay, so the loss of a Bowl changes everything for Oregon.
Sure.
UCLA has got as much talent as anybody in all of college basketball. Arizona State is very good. Arizona is very good. Utah has talent. They won tonight at Arizona State, right? Larry Kraskowiak, that guy is tremendous.
Almost scored 100
Bobby
points.
Hurley, one of my faverites.
By the way,
Who else do we
UCLA
have? We got Colorado. They can beat anybody, but they have to come and play the way they played at New Mexico. You were there in Albuquerque, right?
No, I was
on
not.
a hot air balloon.
That was not me. Hot air balloon. What?
Yeah.
Utah put up 96 tonight. Arizona beat Colorado. USC with a win over Cal.
As soon as they started talking about hot air, I felt right at home.
And elevation.
Harvey Erickson's new book, man. Check that out. The Global Rise of the NBA.
Nice pass underneath and a three-point opportunity for Lukas Kasunas, a freshman from Lithuania.
You ever been to Lithuania?
I have not.
You know Sabonis. Do you know
do.
Marshallonis? Have you ever seen the other
No.
Dream Team?
No.
You just say no before I even say it. I say, have you ever? You just say no. Hey, I want to say thank you to my colleague, my collaborator, my co-conspirator, Previn, who's just absolutely incredible. He handed me a book the other day with a smile on his face and a wink of his eye. Timothy Egan's first book, The Good Rain. It is spectacular. It's 30 years old, but it's timeless. I have so much joy in my life.
Prince Ali showing off now.
Okay.
90 points for the Bruins. They're up 27.
I don't see a path forward for Stanford here.
This will end a 4-game losing streak for UCLA that ultimately cost Steve Alford his job as the head coach of the Bruins. Murray Bartow in his first game as the interim head coach is going to get a win. Let's see if the Bruins can build on this. One of their better performances, maybe their most complete performance this season. Because they got it done in the paint. They showed passion. They played smart basketball. They limited their turnovers tonight. Bill, what else did you like about tonight?
I like spirit. I like pride. I like teamwork. I like attack. All the things I talked about with John Wooden out there, but much like him, you just totally ignored me and turned your shoulder and say,
So you look at, again, some of the numbers for UCLA. We mentioned that Murray Bartow, we talked about this at the top of the telecast. He took over for his father, Gene, at UAB, and he succeeds his father at UCLA 40 years later.
That's quite the story.
So look at some of the father-son coaches at the same school. Most of those were direct takeovers. JT3 took over for Craig Esherick, who followed John Thompson Jr. at Georgetown. But Tony replaced Dick Bennett at Washington State. Pat took over for Bob Knight.
How about Ray and Joey Meyer there at DePaul? This is a fantastic list. You have a dad, right?
Yes.
Okay. And your dad is very proud of you, or?
Yes.
Hey, look who's here. It's John Sally. Thanks for coming by, John. Two-time world champion.
Yeah, Murray and Gene Bartow are on the screen there. That's a shot from 40 years ago when Murray grew up.
There's John Sally. Wow, what a career he's been able to build. Look at the life he has. Wow. John walking out tall and straight.
Laurie Walton on
shoulders back, proud as can be. Congratulations, John. Nice to see you again.
24-point lead for UCLA, closing in on a minute to go. Stanford's going to fall to 7-6 on the year. UCLA will improve to 8-6. This will be 13 straight home wins for the Bruins over Stanford. Their last loss coming in 2005 here at Pauley against the Cardinal. We will have UCLA next week up in Eugene at Oregon.
That'll be a great team. Those Oregon Duck fans, they'll be out in force here.
All right, SVP is coming up. Reaction from Oracle. James Harden looking to make it 5 consecutive games of 40 points or more. Wild card weekend. Lamar Jackson, he's the quarterback for the Ravens, a rookie from Louisville. And also, they'll open the vault, go back to the Fog Bowl at Soldier Field from 1988.
Vault. That's the Grateful Dead storage place. Incredible. So I was privileged to be on tour with the Grateful Dead this summer. And when they pulled into Shoreline there, we all stay in Stanford there in Palo Alto. It was just tremendous. And every morning, the shows would be our night shows, right? And so in the morning, I'd go over to campus at Stanford, get in the pool, and go in the weight room there. And I look over in the lane next to me in the pool, Katie Ledecky and Simone Manuel. And it was just awesome. What a great place, Stanford University. And twice in a row here in the second half, the Cardinal can't even figure out where the sideline is. Please.
How concerned should Jared Haas be about his team here this season based on what you've seen tonight?
I like what I saw tonight.
They're down 22.
Yeah, but they played in stretches. Stanford is not as good as UCLA. UCLA, from the beginning of the season, I've been saying, a ton of talent here. They don't know what to do with it.
And again, Dejon Davis didn't play. We thought he was going to. He was injured in their last game, hurt his ankle. That's a big loss tonight.
Look what happens to the Lakers when LeBron and Rondo and Kyle don't play.
I do think you will see Stanford get better as the season goes on.
I'm a huge Jared Haas fan. I want nothing but the best for the Cardinals. That is a great program. What Bernard Muir does up there at Stanford, wow.
Stanford has not been in the NCAA tournament since 2014.
You think it's easy?
Picked 9th in the preseason poll. But again, I think based on
what we saw tonight at times,
yes,
what they have to do is learn how to package that.
Singleton powers it up. He'll go to the line. It'll also be interesting to watch on the UCLA side how Coach Bartow uses some of these young guys in his rotation that come off the bench. He told us earlier today it's going to be, more than likely most nights the same starting 5 that we had when Steve was the head coach. But he's going to kind of play it by ear in terms of the rotation. Again, not just him, but Dwayne Broussard and Tyus Edney, who are the other assistants.
Flexibility is the key to stability. You got to be able to change. And the ability of this UCLA team to respond tonight to all the different challenges makes you proud as can be, the same way that Lori and I were proud when earlier this year we got to go up to Royce Hall for a Joan Baez concert right here on campus, and it was incredible, over the top, spectacular. Joan, bring us home, please.
UCLA with perhaps its most complete performance of the season, a 92-70 win over Stanford.
Scott Van Pelt, please save us from ourselves. Bob Myers, please save us. Here we go.
Murray Bartow wins his debut as the interim head coach for UCLA. For Hall of Famer Bill Walton, I'm Dave Pash. So long from LA. Here's SportsCenter.